Róisín Shortall is my name. I've been a TD for the Dublin Northwest area for 27 years now, and I'm the co-leader of the Social Democrats.
If you were in government after the next election, could you tell me one immediate action you would take to battle the climate crisis and one long-term action?
Okay, immediately what the Social Democrats would do is introduce a scheme to enable people to insulate their homes. So we've announced a scheme that we'd like to see introduced whereby people could get the work done and then you pay for it over a period through lower energy bills. We think that's a very good idea and we'd hope that that could be adopted very quickly. Longer term is that we change our behaviour, and we have to do that across a whole lot of different fronts. We need to reduce the number of cars on the roads. That means having really good public transport available to people where they need it and when they need it. But it also means encouraging cycling. And we have a huge way to go in terms of creating cycling as a real option for people, a realistic and safe option. And that means having segregated cycle lanes.
Ireland has the second highest college fees in Europe, but many of our colleges say that they're underfunded. So what is your party's policy in regards to funding colleges?
So there's two problems in relation to funding third level. The first is for the individual and ensuring that people aren't precluded from participating in third level education because of funding reasons. The other point, of course, is that we are having difficulties in our third level colleges and we're seeing them slipping down the rankings because of underfunding. I believe that the National Training Fund, to which employers contribute, should be used as the key additional funding system for our third level colleges. It is very much in employers' interest that we have highly trained graduates, and they must be making a contribution to that, in my view, and that is the most sustainable way of funding our colleges, I think.
There are more than 10,000 homeless people in Ireland at the moment, and more than 4,000 of them are young people. Could you tell me one immediate change you would make if elected and one longer term change?
I think the whole question of homelessness at the moment, where we have 10,000, as you say, and 4,000 of those children, is probably the biggest scandal in this country. We should not have families living in hotels. The homelessness crisis is part of the bigger housing crisis that we have. We need to ensure that there's an adequate supply of housing and that that housing is affordable. But in relation to homelessness, we need to pursue a housing first approach so that we stop this kind of stopgap measures of putting people into highly unsuitable accommodation in hotels. So we need to ensure that at a minimum we start a process of offering housing first rather than stopgap solutions. And we need to provide an adequate supply of housing. That means building additional housing, but it also means freeing up housing that is there at the moment, which is underused or vacant.
Last year there were more than 2,500 young people on waiting lists to see a professional regarding moderate to severe mental health difficulties. What is your plan to get young people into seeing professionals when they need it?
I think mental health is the huge challenge for us at the moment. We need far better investment in counselling services. What I'm aiming to do is to, through the Sláintecare health reform programme, to ensure that services are available locally in communities at an early stage when people need them. An investment response in terms of ensuring that proper services are there, but also a nurturing response to young people and valuing young people and ensuring that they are supported when they need that support most.
1/3 of asylum seekers are children living on less than €30 a week. If you were elected to government, will you continue, reform or abolish direct provision?
It's easy to say abolish, and it would be an objective to abolish it. We shouldn't have that system. We should be working toward a system where people who come here seeking asylum have their cases considered quickly and decisions made quickly for them. We shouldn't have a situation where people are waiting, up to 10 years in some cases for a decision on their application. So what we need to do is to put in place a system that actually works for people. In the meantime, we need to ensure that people have adequate accommodation. It would be nice to think that we could have houses for everybody. That's not the case at the moment, given the fact that there is 100,000 people on housing waiting lists. What we need is a state supported and funded service and a state run service. We shouldn't be operating on a commercial basis in terms of providing proper accommodation for asylum seekers. So it needs to be two-pronged, the state providing adequate accommodation and secondly ensuring that there's a rapid decision-making process.